Welcome to the Prepped and Polished podcast, the podcast that empowers you to take control of your education, featuring weekly interviews with influencers in the world of education, as well as tutoring tips, lessons, and updates. And now, here's your host.
This is Aaron, Prepped and Polished. Please be sure to check out our website at www.preppedandpolished.com. For tutoring in person or online, call us at 781-753-9951 or chat with us instantly on our website. You can also join our Prepped and Polished community on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Prepped and Polished. If you have a question after the show, please ask us a question on the chat feature of our website. We love hearing from you. Now, let's get right into episode number 249, my advice for students who consider themselves bad at standardized tests.
I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of different students on different standardized tests throughout the years, whether it be the ACT, SAT, SSAT, the IC or ISCE, or any other kind of standardized test for either the AP courses or now discontinued SAT subject tests. One thing that I've always heard from a variety of students is how they can better themselves when they view themselves as being bad on standardized tests. Now, here's my advice for it, and please be aware that this is my opinion, and if you have concerns about it, please feel free to reach out to us at Prepped and Polished. We'd be happy to talk further about your child or your specific instance. However, a lot of times when students identify that they are, or they say that they're bad at standardized tests, they actually need to identify why they think they are bad at the tests. Is it from a previous experience with a test that they weren't prepared for? Did they just go in and take the test without any prep work? Did they think, oh, I don't need to study this, and realize, no, I needed to study this? These potential reasons why they performed poorly on it might be unrelated to their actual abilities to take a test. Given the opportunity, many students can do really well in a test if they prepare. So I want to start off by saying, think about, why do you think you are bad on these tests, and follow that up with a response. You're not alone. Many people don't feel that they do great or they are great on standardized tests. Standardized tests are tough, and any student who says otherwise has either had previous experience with the test or, very small percentage, are just good on them. But that's not everyone. So I'm here to talk about a couple of things to think about when you are considering your performance on a standardized test. First of all, what are some of the areas that you think you need to work on the most? It might be that you're just not good at timing. Or maybe you haven't taken a timed test before. Something on the, in the confines of, you have 60 minutes to answer these 60 questions, go. If you aren't experience in that might be a reason why you performed not so great on a test. Maybe you also have to consider, is there a way in which we can better ourselves? Sometimes it just takes a little bit of self-reflection on the test that you took to understand what happened on it. Can we think about changing our way of thought or how we approach a question? Is it something that is manageable? If you're taking a time test and you just can never finish, okay, maybe we should focus on those questions that you can finish. Or do you maybe need more time on the test? Do you require some sort of accommodations? In either instance, whether you need the accommodations or you don't, but you're trying to figure it out, here's my second bit of advice. Ask for help. If you can recognize that there are some areas that you need to improve upon, it does not change the fact if you ask someone for help versus taking this on your own. I find a lot of times with students that some are afraid to ask for help because they don't want to come across as weak or unable. And it's quite actually the opposite. If you recognize that you need help, that shows a lot of self-internalization. Be able to look upon yourself and say, you know what, I need to fix this. I can't do it alone. I need someone else. or I need to find someone, whether that be a tutor or maybe a friend who might be a little bit better at it than you are, or a teacher who can help hold you accountable and kind of push you towards that goal of doing better on the test. There is a way to do better. And it's sometimes a simple question of mind over matter. If you get into a rut that you can't do better and you believe it to what we'll say is the nth degree, then I wouldn't be surprised if you can't perform better. We need to open our mind and ourselves to the possibility that we can improve. We just need to find out what works and what doesn't. Usually when I'm working with students on test prep as a whole, and we're focusing in on a specific topic, let's say we're dealing with commas or punctuation as a whole, my job as a tutor is to kind of go in like dealing with a small clock and find out what gears are not working, what gears are not rotating the right way, go in and try and fix that gear. Now, sometimes when we fix that gear, another gear gets jammed. Okay, well, we need to fix that. We need to find the right combination of gear fixes, in this analogy, that will enable the student to click into place to understand how they can change their approach. Now, the best way that I can offer my third bit of advice is practice. Practice is going to help. Even if you feel like it's not helping immediately, it will help in the long run. I have found that if students put time and effort into practicing, and usually this goes with the caveat that they're spending a lengthier period of time, not the test is next week, I need to practice this 10 trillion times before next Tuesday, that might not work. But if you have a couple months ahead, if you have several weeks ahead, and you practice, it's going to show results. It might not be right away, but at the end of it, you should see results. Now, all this advice, again, this is just my opinion, but I do believe that if you're a student and you feel like you are bad at standardized tests, please reach out to us. Tell us about your experience. I guarantee that myself or another tutor will be able to talk to you and figure out, what can he or she do differently to improve his or her score? And we're going to work on that. We're going to work to get you to that spot or get you as close as that as possible, because it ultimately comes down to what you, the student, are able to put in, what you, the student, are able to practice. We're going to be there to hold you accountable, and we're going to be there to help you as best as we can. So please, think about what it is that you felt that you did poorly on or not so great on the standardized tests. Do some self-reflection. Think about maybe asking for help. Know that Prepped and Polished is here as a resource. And once you find someone, whoever that may be, it doesn't have to be us, but if you find someone that is helping you stay accountable and working toward that goal, practice. Keep practicing and keep working until you can succeed. And again, we are here to help in any capacity. And at the end of the day, we hope that you feel a little bit better about yourself in terms of standardized testing.
This wraps up our show, episode number 249, my advice for students who consider themselves bad at standardized tests. Please be on the lookout for our next podcast, episode number 250. Thanks for joining us on the Prepped and Polished podcast today. Now go out there and take control of your education.
You've been listening to the Prepped and Polished podcast. For more information, check out preppedandpolished.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Class dismissed.